Okay, so for our next monster face, we're gonna paint a skull. And I've done a skull before in my fast faces class, and that's with quick powders. But this is for when you have a little more time, you have a kid that can handle it and is more patient. It's a one-stroke skull, and it's awesome because it adds all the dimension without the fuss of sponges. So I'm gonna load up first just some plain whites on my brush, a 1/4 inch flat brush. And I like these with the short bristles so I have control over them. And then I'm gonna load into my silver cake. And the reason I loaded white first is to lighten this. So now I get a white cake with just a hint of the teal and a hint of gray shadow. And it looks really cool. I'm gonna start my faces the way I start all the faces, with those angry brows. So I'm starting with the inner corner of the eye. Can you close your eyes, please? And I'm gonna peek off center and come down. And if you watch any of my classes, this is the same base as all the, whoop, you're good? The same base as all the designs. And I do that on purpose so that you don't have to memorize so much. If you have a base design, then you can, I'm gonna do the cheekbones now. If you have a base design, you can use it over and over for all your characters and just change the colors and you get lots of characters. Now, between the brows, I'm flipping my brush. So I have definition, not a unibrow. And I'm making a windshield wiper stroke there and flipping my brush and doing another one. Now, if the kid wants, if they specifically ask for like Ghost Rider or they say they like flames, then make a low forehead so you can add flames on top. If they want just a plain skull, then you can make a high forehead. I think I'm gonna add a few flames for funsies. So I'm gonna make it a low forehead here so that I have space for that. Okay. Then I'm gonna come down the nose the way I do for my animal designs. And across the mouth the way I would do for a muzzle. So I'm reloading some white, reloading my silver. Now notice the instant 3D shading, right? Going across the upper lip. And I want to connect this cheekbone to the teeth area. So I'm gonna come up and curve like this. And same thing on this side, and curve like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill this in. Oops, there. Okay, and now I'm gonna come around the bottom and I'm gonna make this cavity here, like the soft spot where the hole would be. So I'm gonna come around there, like a U shape, and down here. You see that shape? And then I'm gonna come straight down, square out my jaw, and come across. Let's repeat on the other side. This part is different than most faces. Most faces, we don't see the bone through the flesh. Most faces, I would just color this in, like Hulk, I would just color that in. But we wanna see all this definition. So I'm going U, and then down, and define the jawline, and come across. And then across the bottom lip, because that's where the teeth are gonna be. Any gaps, I'm just filling in with white. There we go. And that's our base. That's our base. Very quick, but high impact. Okay. Now to fill in those gaps, I am gonna use powders because it's fast and because it's comfortable on the eyes. So I'm gonna load up some black on one of these smoothie blender things, lollipops. Get plenty of black paint on there. And I'm gonna fill in the eye area. Close your eyes for me, please. I'm gonna fill in this whole thing. Now, I've got very little black left in my pan, which is why I'm loading so much. I only have like the little edge. But if you have a full cake of black, it'll be way faster to load. Close your eyes. And this is so comfortable in the eyes versus wet paint. Okay. I'm going to use the same powder to draw the shape of the nasal cavity. And because I have some black on here and it'll look cool, I can add some extra. I want them to be light, so I'm trying to get rid of some of the powder here. Okay, some extra shadows there underneath the cheekbone, like this. Let's see, do some at the bottom. Because why not use it while you have it? Okay. Now some line work. I'm gonna do a thin brush, a thin round brush with black. Actually, because we're gonna do the flames, I'm gonna do the flames first. If you were doing just the skull, you would do the line work right now. But because I said I left some space to do a few flames, I'm gonna do those first. 1/2" angle brush. I'm gonna load up these 3 colors in my Hero Power palette. It's neon yellow, neon orange, and red. And I think I need a little more water. So I'm just dipping just the very edge of my brush and getting more in there. Okay. And now here, I'm just making like little U shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect. So like little U shapes like this. Some taller, some shorter. This will depend on the shape of the person's face. And then make sure they connect at the bottom. So with the yellow, I'm kind of making sure all the flames are touching. Okay. Very cool. And then with some outlines, it'll give it definition. Yes. All right, now go back to my round brush for the black. Okay. I'm gonna start with the angry brows. Close your eyes, please. And I'm gonna curve this and pivot out from there. And curve that. And all coming to that same point. Or coming from that same point, rather. And I'm basically just tracing all the strokes I did already, so I don't have to guess where the lines go. Hitting the top of this, coming around. I'm following all of this. And then you can embellish if you want. So in here, I'll add like a little curve, because that looks cool. Come in, come around. Tracing all of this. Here, I like to add some flicks down. Debating if I should do a line across. I'll decide later. All right, come up around this way. I don't even need a line there. The black one stroke already outlines it. Close your eyes, please. Underneath the eye, I'm gonna outline this because I want it to have the definition of the eye socket, like the cavity. If it was just the skull with no flames, I would do the curve across the forehead, but I don't want to do a line there now. All right, now I'm going to flick in some teeth. If I was in a rush, I would just flick in these parallel lines and call it a day. So I start with the middle one. And then I divide this in half. And then divide those in half. That way I don't have to guess how many teeth or how to space them out. It's easy to divide things in half. So I have this gap, divide in half, divide in half, divide in half. Okay. If the kid doesn't like how stuff feels, if you notice them squirming, leave it like that. If you have a very patient model like I do today, then you can finish off the shapes of the teeth. So I'm going to make little triangles, little V's going upward like this at the tops of each tooth. And the same thing at the bottom of each tooth here. You can totally skip this if you're in a rush, and you could totally skip it if your model's not liking it. All right, now for more embellishments, I like to do a little line here and one up here. Now let's give those, what are they called? Flames a little detail. I'm gonna get the points in like this. Just add little squiggles. I'm not outlining every single one, just here and there. Little U's and little squiggles down. That's all you need for details there. I'm gonna add little spots of black so it looks like it's purposeful but not solid. Okay. And then our last detail is the highlights. I'm gonna use the same thin brush with some waxy white so it can be opaque. But it's okay if it's not totally opaque. It's just to lighten some areas. I'm gonna hit the tops of my shapes that I want sticking out. So I want the brows and the cheeks to look like they're sticking out. So I'm gonna make sure I get the tops of those. And then I'm gonna hit the top of the teeth. And for the bottom, I kind of just flick in each tooth like this. Here, because the light will hit the top of that bone, the top of this bone. And then I want this to look like it's protruding out. So I'm gonna get the edge of here. So it can look like it's sticking out. Yeah. Make that stick out. And some definition there and there. And that's it for our skull. Wanna see?
Yeah, look at that cat shot. It looks amazing.